The Florida Gators traveled to Knoxville, Tennessee to play the Tennessee Volunteers this Saturday night, 7 o'clock on ESPN. And the question is, can the Vols get past the past? I'm going to dive into that in just a second. Welcome to the channel. I'm Brian. I'm glad you're here. You're like, hey, man, he's got all this orange around him. It's a different shade of orange. Yeah, for both teams. But though I'm a Clemson fan, I talk about other teams, college football teams. Love to talk some trash. Like to have some fun. Keep it civil. You know what I'm saying. If you like that sort of thing, I hope you'll subscribe. Remember, it is free. The sweetest words in the English language, free. Let's dive in. It was September the 21st, 1996. My mom and dad decided to take my sister and I up to the Disneyland for country people. Of course, that being Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, right outside of Knoxville. And someone's like, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, did you hyphenate that? No, but you know the general area. If you go to Gatlinburg, you go to Pigeon Forge and vice versa. It's right outside of Knoxville. That weekend, the Florida Gators came to town with smart-mouth Steve Spurrier still irritated that the Vols wouldn't hire him, or not hire him, wouldn't give him a scholarship coming out of high school there. I believe it was, Johnson City, Tennessee. So he's like been pouring it on for years, smart-mouthed and then beating the crap out of Tennessee. They had Danny Werfel. And you Tennessee Vols fans, you might have heard about this guy that played quarterback for you. His name's Peyton Manning. He did okay for himself. And, of course, Philip Fulmer, which some of you love, and then some of you get a migraine when I mention that. But as I said, my family decided to take us to the Disneyland for Southern people. Of course, Disney World for Southern people is Myrtle Beach. Also, it's the Disney World for the state of Ohio as well. But anyway, it was that weekend, and that time I was almost 14 years old. I was 13, but I was almost 14. And I ate, slept, and breathed two things: college football and girls. So, of course, I was paying attention to Florida and Tennessee. It was a top 5 matchup. But that weekend did not go so well for the Vols. I will just pull up the score here. At one time, Florida at halftime was beating Tennessee 35-6. That doesn't sound like a top 5 matchup, does it? Now, of course, the Vols in the second half would hold Florida scoreless. They would score 23 points. Had to look that box score. 23 points in the second half. The final score was 35-29. Remember, at halftime, it was 35-6. Peyton Manning passed for almost 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also threw 4 interceptions. It was an irritating day for the Tennessee Vols. But I want to show you something, and if you're a Tennessee fan, you're going to be like, man, you're taunting us. I'm not taunting you. I'm just showing you history. Here is Florida's history recently against Tennessee. Those blue shaded boxes that has Florida in it, that's when Florida won the game against Tennessee. Tennessee's barely beat Florida for years now. There's that game I was talking about just a second ago. Tennessee's coming off of a loss to Arkansas, an Arkansas loss that they were not supposed to have whatsoever. And the truth is, there's a lot of criticism of Nico, this unbelievable quarterback that Tennessee has. The guy has been playing well, and you could say, well, you know, he's played well against some teams that's not that great. He did play against Oklahoma. He won in Norman, but they lost this game against Arkansas. Well, if you look at the Arkansas-Tennessee stats, you'll see that Arkansas had 434 total yards to Tennessee's 332. There was no fumbles. There were no interceptions thrown. Arkansas had the ball almost 11 minutes longer than the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, a lot of people are looking at this game where Tennessee against Florida is, let me look at what the line is right now. Tennessee is a 15-point favorite. The over-under is 55.5 points. Let's talk about Florida for a second. Florida, we just wait. We're just waiting for any day for them to pull the plug on Billy Napier. Now, I'm not talking trash about Billy Napier. I'm in the upstate of South Carolina. Billy Napier played quarterback for the Furman Paladins here in Greenville, South Carolina. He went on to be the offensive coordinator for Clemson during the early years of Dabo Swinney. Dabo fired him, but he gave him a shot. So I'm not taking a shot at Billy Napier, but we all know that this mess down at Florida, this is not Florida football. Even if you're a Tennessee fan, you are loving it, but you know it's not Florida football. This is not the Spurrier years or the Urban Meyer years. You know it, I know it. Anyone with a brain knows it. But the truth is, even with Florida being bad, Tennessee has only inked out 2 wins against Florida since 2016. They beat Florida in 2016, and they beat Florida in 2022. That really good 2022 year with Hendon Hooker. And that was a nail-biter, 38-33. So the question is, why would I bring up 1996 other than telling you about some rando trip to redneck Disneyland? Why would I bring up Florida's recent dominance, well, not even recent, it's been for a while now, over Tennessee? It's that no matter how good Tennessee has been, or maybe started to become a little better, they've struggled with Florida. My brother-in-law graduated the University of Tennessee, loves the Vols with all his heart, all of his Rocky Top heart. Hope he sees this. And when he talks about Florida, he says no matter how bad they are, they become a Tom Brady-led New England Patriots when they play Tennessee. So even when Florida is bad, pause there. Florida shouldn't have beat Tennessee last year. They shouldn't have. That was a bad Florida team. Well, you got to understand the rivalry, man. You've got to understand that after a while, that gets old. If all you have to do is show up and hang your lackluster performance on a rivalry nail, if that's all you're going to do, that's a loser mentality. I've called out my Clemson team for it. They're trying to talk away what happened against Florida State this past weekend. Clemson was up 17-0 like that, and then all of a sudden, they went dormant. They could only score 12 points for the rest of the game against a terrible Florida State team. So if I can say it about my own team, Lord knows I'm not going to pull any punches on you. Tennessee should win this game, right? They should. I know it. Anyone who is looking at football logically knows it. But my question is, can you get past the mental block? It's a mental block. I'll guarantee you, if you took the Florida Gators and you put them in Mississippi State jerseys, I will almost guarantee you every dime in my bank account right now, you would beat them by 2 or 3 touchdowns. At the same time, I wonder if you took the current Mississippi State team and put them in Florida jerseys, how would Tennessee respond? Would they go, oh no, it's them? It's a mental block. I was talking to Sports Talk Jay. I've had Sports Talk Jay on here a lot. John from Sports Talk Jay. The guy's great. He's incredible. He's a lot of fun. If you're a Tennessee fan, you definitely know who he is. And he was talking about DJ, who used to play quarterback for us, that played for Oregon State. Now, well, played for Florida State. Now he's standing on the sideline, and he's, broke his hand. Didn't play against us. He said, if a guy like that can make these really, really difficult throws, but the easy throws he can't make, that's called anxiety. And John was a golfer, and he talked about, and this was off the air. I wish that we would have recorded it. He said, if you miss short putts on the golf course. He said that's anxiety. And he said that's hard to get past. You can almost can't break out of it. And that's what I look at with Tennessee. To me, this game screams Tennessee wins this ball game. I mean, it does. Like, I'm an outsider looking in. I'm not too terribly far from Knoxville. I'm about 3 hours from there. I have no ill will towards the Volunteer Nation. Really don't have any ill will towards the Gators. But from the outside looking in, it's a mental block with you guys. You can't get past it. And I would like to say that Josh Heupel, being the man that he is, being the coach that he is, he's done fantastic things for the University of Tennessee. He took over a mess. He took over a team that was up to their neck in inspirational mottos, but not disciplined to win games. That's why I'm not a fan of certain people who are high-profiled coaches at this current moment, who has all these inspirational sayings and has all this energy and all of this excitement around them. Mottos can only go so far. Tennessee learned that with Butch Jones. Others will learn that soon as well. And when his sons graduate and go, one of them to the NFL. I don't know about the other one. I really don't know. But anyway, I'll leave that alone. And no, I was not talking about Butch Jones there. My point in all of this is that Josh Heupel is a good coach. I think he's a really good coach. And he's done fantastic things at Tennessee. Then you throw in there the mess that he took over. Man, erect a statue to that guy. Back the Brinks truck up. Tell him and Mama to go in there and get as much as they want. Just as long as he'll stay. As long as he doesn't do something stupid. Now, don't give him a big contract kind of like Mike Norvell. Mike Norvell doesn't have to coach anymore. He can stand down there and run Florida State into the ground, and they owe him like $60 million. They ain't got that much money, hence them suing the ACC. I mean, we've heard about how much money they don't have. And I'm not knocking Florida State here. I'm just saying I'm knocking teams that's giving these guys these massive buyouts, and all you're seeing is these coaches go, it's about risk 30 now. I get to check out. I don't have to coach anymore because they'll have to pay me. Texas A&M taught us that. Florida State should be teaching us that right now. I've even questioned if giving Dabo Swinney the size of the buyout was a good idea for Clemson and for him and his legacy. Another story for another time. Josh Heupel is the man, but Josh Heupel has to beat Florida this week. Why? Because they're Florida? No, because they're a bad football team. If you're new to my channel and you're like, hey, I'm a Florida fan or I'm a Tennessee fan or I'm an SEC fan and I just happened to stumble upon your channel. Why did I say it like that? It sounded like I was having a stroke. Channel. I need more coffee, God. I really need more coffee. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just losing it because I've had too much already. But if you're new to this channel, I have a motto. I have a few mottos. And one of them is, you beat a bad team bad. You stay focused. You go out there, you drill them. You throw the knockout punch early. And if they start to even think about getting up, you drill them again. Take away their hope, their belief, anything they could draw from that makes them believe they could possibly come back and beat you. As Barney Fife says, you nip that in the bud like that. You beat a bad team bad. Florida's a bad team. Tennessee is not. So I could care less if Florida comes out there in the Florida jerseys. Right now, Florida is a shell of history. That's something else I talk about. If you're new here, that's something else I talk about. Florida is a shell of history. What does that mean? That means they have the same jerseys. that they had when they were successful. They have the same fight song. They play at the same stadium. If you walk into the stadium down there at the Swamp, you'll look around and you'll see retired jerseys of the greats. You'll see national championships. But that's in the past. They are a shell of history. Now, I'm not saying that Florida can never come back. I believe with the correct coach they can. They just can't go out there and hire Duflachi Jones just because, well, just because. The next hire for Florida has to be someone brilliant. It can't be someone that all the donors likes just because they like him. It has to be someone, if you're serious about football, it has to be someone who knows what they are doing. But Florida's a bad football team. Tennessee, you beat a bad football team bad. I don't care where they play. I don't care what jersey they trot out in. They're a bad football team. Question is, Tennessee, it's up to you whether you, the Vols, get past the past. And I hate to say it, after this past weekend, I don't know what to think about Tennessee. But the person who gives me hope is not Nico. It's not Samson. It's not any of your talented wide receivers. It's not some of your defensive linemen who are talented and has NFL aspirations. It's Josh Heupel. Coaching matters. That's another one of my mottos. Coaching matters. And I believe that Tennessee will win this game. I don't think it'll be by 15. I don't think it'll be by 15. I think this will be a close game because I think that Tennessee does struggle mentally. I don't think. I know they struggle mentally against Florida. But I think Florida is that bad. I think they are that disheveled with Billy Napier. No shot at Napier. I just think that job was too much too soon for him. I think that he probably should have went somewhere else or stayed at Louisiana, just transparently. So I think the Vols win this game in a close one. I think it could be an ugly game. And if we see Nico struggle, you may see Tennessee falter. You may see Florida give it their best because Florida, they're afraid of a lot of teams, and they are terrible when they play a lot of teams. But when they play Tennessee, as my brother-in-law, the Tennessee alum, says, they suddenly become a Tom Brady-led New England Patriots. Folks, tell me what you think about this game. Who do you pick to win and why? I would love to hear it. Hey, if you haven't subscribed, it is free. The sweetest words in the English language, free. So if you're on a device, you can just take your thumb and go click, and boom. There you go. Also, if you want to join, $3 or $5 per month, there's a link below this video. It's a join button or subscribed. I don't know what the new terminology is, but I would tell you if you're on an iPhone, you probably won't see it, but it's $3 or $5 per month. I made it really affordable. So if you want to participate, you can. Drop me a line in here and let me know that you saw the video. Give me your thoughts on this game. It's good to see you here. And as always, go Tigers.